know when you start live streaming?
We are starting in the next 30 seconds.
Oh, can we wait a bit? Is
Yeah.
it possible? Like, yeah, just say starting soon or something. But yeah, yeah, because there's like it's so empty. Oh, sorry.
So it's on.
It's on or muted? Hello, everyone. Welcome to the G20 Global Land Initiative and UNCCD Pavilion at the Global Landscapes Forum in Nairobi. And for those joining us online, thank you for tuning in from wherever you are. We gather here today not merely to discuss the ravages of land degradation or the urgent necessity for restoration, but to shine a spotlight on the beacon of hope and innovation that is the youth ecopreneur. Land degradation is not a new challenge. For decades, human activities have altered our landscapes, causing deserts to expand, forests to shrink, and fertile lands to lose their vitality. The result is not just a diminished natural world, but communities uprooted, economies disrupted, and generations whose potential is compromised. But amid these challenges, there arises a new generation of youth ecopreneurs. These are the young minds who are turning challenges into opportunities. It is these young visionaries who recognize that our planet's health is not just an ecological necessity, but also an economic opportunity. They see degraded lands not as lost causes, but as canvases for innovation, regeneration, and sustainable enterprises. They send a message to the world that sustainability and economic prosperity aren't mutually exclusive, but can and must go hand in hand. The world has taken note. Investors, policymakers, and the international community see in these young ecopreneurs not just the future leaders of the green economy, but the front runners of a global movement, a movement that seeks to rewrite the narrative of degradation and instead pen a story of restoration and shared prosperity. In 2020, the G20 Global Land Initiative was launched by the G20 leaders at the Riyadh Summit. The objectives of the initiative are to prevent, halt, and reverse degradation with an ambition to reduce degraded land by 50% by 2040. Through this initiative, we are dedicated to sharing knowledge and data, empowering communities and building their capacity for restoration, and showcasing success stories that illustrate tangible impacts, and engaging with all stakeholders, including governments, civil society, the private sector, youth, women, indigenous peoples, and others. By 2040, we hope to support the development of 10,000 youth ecopreneurs. Earlier this year, we awarded the first Youth Ecopreneur Award on land restoration with the International Trade Center. The 4 youth ecopreneurs who will speak today are among the finalists of the Youth Ecopreneur Awards. As we delve deeper into our discussions today, let's not only appreciate the science, technology, and methods of land restoration, let's also celebrate the heart, passion, and spirit of our youth ecopreneurs, for in their success lies the brighter, greener future of our planet. Thank you. And now I would like to introduce our moderator, my colleague Apurva Bose.
Good morning, everyone. I'm sure you all can be louder. I saw that everyone had their tea and their coffee and their little snacks. So, good morning, everyone. Good morning. That's better. Thank you. My name is Apurva Bose, and I am the Program Coordinator, G20 Global Land Initiative, and I'll also be a moderator for today. I'm honestly extremely thrilled to guide our discussions. But before we start off, I'd like to let you know that we will be live streaming this session on our G20 Global Land Initiative YouTube page. I hope everyone's okay with that. As Joanne just suggested, and before we delve into the heart of this event, let's take a moment to address our G20 GLI's aim to create 10,000 youth ecopreneurs, and last year's partnership with ITC on the Youth Ecopreneur Award in the category of land is a testament to our commitment to promoting sustainability and innovation. Now, without further ado, let's meet our exceptional speakers who will be sharing their experiences, ideas, and strategies for establishing businesses using land resources. Now, a round of applause for our lovely speakers here. Welcome, all 4 of you, to this lovely discussion. And in this session, our youth ecopreneurs will be discussing everything about their business model, the impact achieved, including contributions to land restoration and local communities, any constraints faced and lessons learned, and also their very interesting plans and projections in the future. I'd like to start with Mawuse, who is from the Soma Life Limited, Ghana. Over to you, and the floor is yours.
For me, because I'm very happy to be in the midst of these people who are passionate about contributing to reforesting or protecting our land. I'm very happy. I think I'm in a good place. So my name is Mawuse Christina Jison. I co-founded a social enterprise called Soma Life. So what in the shea value chain. So I'm talking about shea nuts, shea butter you've used in your skin before. So we resource women shea producers by providing innovative financing, agroforestry, and then link them to international market of food and cosmetic manufacturers who are determined to improve and also measure their ESGs. So they are willing to pay premium or fair wages for the share commodities and the traceable commodities that we support the women to supply them. The evidence of climate change is very visible in Ghana, especially where I come from. more than 80% of the population rely on farming as main source of livelihood. And the major group of people that are affected by this climate change are women smallholder farmers who rely on farming activities to support themselves and their families. So we as Suma Life, as a first-hand witness of this problem, we are trying to tackle this by finding innovative solutions to mitigate the negative effects of climate change in the shea value chain. We realize that there are over 60 million shea producers in West Africa who rely on the production of shea commodities for survival. But these same valuable shea trees are listed as vulnerable by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. And I'm so sad to add that more than 80% of charcoal that is produced in northern Ghana comes from shea trees. And we know that this is a great threat if nothing is done about it, because these shea trees are valuable economically. Seeing the number of people is empowering. And we also look at the lifespan of a typical shea tree. After it takes 15 years to grow, it continues to produce fruits for 100 years. So it is exponentially more valuable for being alive and producing nuts to supply our shea butter for food and cosmetics than being burned for charcoal production. So this is why we realize that we need to stop this action. And if we don't do that, it will lead to the fall of the shea industry, end up causing deforestation and low income for the 16 million shea producers in West Africa who rely on this industry. So this problem compelled us as Suma Life to use modern technology to effectively manage shea trees and restore lost ones, while also increasing the income of the women shea producers through innovative financing and also connecting them to fair markets. So our whole approach starts with first training the women and digitizing all their operations. Then we resource them to be climate resilient through our conservation activities. And then finally, we connect them to international buyers who are conscious about fair trade and traceability. So far, we've been able to protect 1,200 acres of shea trees from deforestation. And we have managed to resource women to raise 60,000 seedlings, which will be transplanted in the coming season. I must say that these results are not without challenges. The very first challenge we observe is that though these women are so excited about the idea of sustainable land use, agroforestry, and all these things, but they are not decision makers when it comes to land use or land ownership in northern Ghana. They don't make decisions. So it's kept some pressure on us, or we were compelled or pressurized in a way to engage traditional leaders who are mainly men, who don't understand why women are the only focus for us. And in fact, even when they hear about the possibility of the women earning carbon credits in the future, they wonder why we're not engaging men as well. So it's really placed extra responsibility on me and my team to engage these leaders extensively to allocate lands for these women to be able to establish the nurseries, raise the seedlings, and then transplant the trees. Because if they don't allocate the lands, we cannot do anything, because the men have made the decision when it comes to the land where I come from. The second challenge we observed has to do with our model. So we are ensuring that we decentralize conservation skills, and that means going the harder route. We could have easily just bought seedlings from commercial sources and then transport them to the remote communities. But we want to be able to get to a point where in the future, God forbid, if Suma Life is no longer there, the women can raise seedlings themselves. They can earn money with or without us. So we had to invest on training, buying, or purchasing some nursery equipment, which are very capital intensive. But all in all, in the midst of all these challenges, we've seen the impact, we've seen the results, and we know that it's been worth our while so far. We know that one we don't want to do anymore is to go alone. So we want to work with partners, okay? Because we have a plan to connect or resource 12,000 women to be climate resilient. They should raise early maturing shade trees. That would take less than the normal 15 years to grow. And we don't want to do it alone. We want to move with partners. I know my partners are already in this room. Connect with us to go ahead and resource these people and make sure that we don't lose these valuable shade trees, because it's feeding 16 million households, and you already know what that means for the West African country. I think I'll end here. If you have questions, yes, I'm ready for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mause. So we will have a designated slot where the audience will be able to interact with our lovely panelists today. Thank you, Mause, for such a thought-provoking session and for also bringing to the fore the nexus between gender and land, something that's often, not discussed in public spaces. So thank you for the lovely introduction and for talking about your business model. Now, moving on, we have Max Fontaine from Bondi, Madagascar. Floor's yours.
Even if I know your model since a while, always super inspiring to hear what you're doing. So I'm going to try to present Bond in a really concise way. So our main goal is to reveal the potential of Madagascar's unique nature and people. We have three main challenges that we want to solve. The first one is that 80% of the population lives in rural areas. It's exactly the same than what you said, Mawuse. So if we want to try to improve the living conditions in our country, we have to focus on rural areas. With the climate change effects, we have a lot of food insecurity. In 2021, the UN stated that Madagascar is actually facing the first famine due to the effect of the climate change. So that shows that climate change, we live it in our daily lives. It's not something that we are talking about that will come in the future. It's today's reality. And as these people live in rural areas and are live in difficult financial conditions, it makes them rely on natural resources, such as forest or water sources. The primary cause of deforestation is the needs for firewood. 98% of the population still relies on firewood in Madagascar and charcoal. So you cannot ask them not to cut down trees if it's for their primary needs, It's so hard to go talk to a farmer and ask him to stop cutting trees if he needs it to boil water, to feed his family. So that makes the Madagascar's paradox, which is we are a huge island, the fourth biggest island in the world, with many, many natural resources, but still amongst the poorest countries in the world and one of the most vulnerable population to the effects of the climate change. So how we try to solve this, to tackle these issues? We work in two landscapes. The first one is mangroves, as you can see on the picture. So we have mangroves project where we restore degraded mangroves on the western coast of Madagascar. We work with grassroots communities to restore them, but we have a really holistic approach. We don't stop at just planting the seedlings. We try to, raise awareness within the population, bring income generating activities, and also infrastructures, local infrastructures to make the population less relying on natural resources. Our second landscape is agroforestry. With the agroforestry project, we work with local farmers And now more and more we work with farmers organizations because it's more impactful, and for us it's easier to work with already structured farmers organization. So as for the mangroves, it's a really holistic approach. We are not just planting the trees. We make all the soil and technical analysis of the environment, all the social analysis. You really have to make the project run by the farmers because nobody knows their needs more than they do. So then after the analysis, we make the tree nurseries, we share the seedlings, and then we make the following up of the plantation with the farmers. We also help them to find markets for their harvest, and also how to concretely improve their living conditions. So also in the agroforestry projects, we try to make infrastructures in the communities where we are working. Okay, so far, we have planted more than 1 million trees in Madagascar, and by the end of 2023, we would have planted more than 3 million trees, both in the mangroves and the agroforestry projects. For us, it's also really important, to inspire the Malagasy youth, and that's how we have more than 3,000 volunteers that come on the field to plant trees with us, to do the following up activities, the social activities with the local organizations. And we really noticed that the Malagasy youth is willing to act concretely on how to fight the climate change. And we provide them this opportunity, to act concretely, not just by being advocacy online or, being activist, but by doing active, how you can really be concrete on the ground. As Mawuse said also, the partnership are really important. You cannot solve this problem alone. How big could be your company, your organization? You cannot do everything in the perfect manner. So to have more impact and bigger impact, you have to partners with different sectors. We have 55 partners in the private sector, both locally and internationally. We also partner with local universities on how to improve our scientific methods. We partner with youth organizations. We partner with the state, the government, because we are all affected by these issues. So today we are more than 130 full-time collaborators working both at the headquarters in the capital and with the on-field teams. Most of them are really young. I think the average age is around 30 years old. So it's a really youth-led project. But of course, we also need more skilled and experienced people. But we really want to show that the Malagasy youth is ready and willing to take his destiny into his hands. As I said, yes, we really want to imply the youth in it. We work with many schools, and we give them the opportunity also to plant trees with us. And to conclude, awareness raising and skill building is really important, because this is something that you can provide to the communities that will stay with them forever. Even if tomorrow our company, I hope it won't happen, but if tomorrow we go bankrupt, there are things that will last, that will stay in these people's minds. So we have in every project farmers field schools where we teach them methods of planting that are more adapted to climate change. And for instance, we provide them seeds that can suit with the huge drought that Madagascar is facing. And for us, that is one of our biggest pride. And we've developed 2 technologies to track the trees and to provide transparency to our partners, because it's difficult, to ask your company or partner in Brussels or in New York or in Shanghai to partner with us if they are far. And we work with blockchain technologies and satellite monitoring to make sure that we can be transparent with our partners. So thank you very much, and please do not hesitate when you'll have questions.
Thank you, Max. And I think, as you pointed out, rightly pointed out, in fact, the magic always happens on the field, and it's truly inspiring to see your organization inspire the youths to be present on the field and see the magic actually happen. Thank you. Now, moving on, we have Makwena Moesi, Viva Organica, Botswana. Over to you, Makwena.
Thank you so much, Apova. Good morning, everyone. I'm so delighted to be here today, and I really hope that my seeks to inspire someone who's also looking to provide positive impact along the agro-food value chain, but also to collaborate and connect. Thank you so much. Can I have the presentation up? Okay. So, my name is Makwena Moesi. I'm from Botswana, a small but very hot country. Thank you. Don't know how to navigate this. Probably the arrow, right? Yeah. Okay. A small, peaceful but very hot country in Southern Africa that's mostly known for its diamond and beef economy. But we are now looking to become a more food sufficient country, but also to diversify our economy, as looking into just the mining economy with diamonds, it's not preferred or sustainable, both for the environment and our growing population. Sorry, I lost my trail of thought there. So a little bit about myself. I am a biologist from the University of Botswana, graduated from the University of Botswana, and I believe myself to be a very curious person. I look to science for solutions, but most importantly, I think it's important to not focus on gaining theoretical knowledge and not applying it. It's absolutely important, and looking at our population that has over 70% of it being the youth, we're very hungry for providing and driving positive change, solving our socio-economic challenges that we face in Botswana. And so my interest has always been in bridging the gap between ecology and food production systems that are sustainable and that follow the natural cyclic patterns, or what would naturally happen in the environment. And from that is where I co-founded Viva Organica. And it's an eco-conscious startup based in Gaborone, Botswana, that initially its main mission was to manufacture organic fertilizers from using organic waste. But since then, we have now evolved to exist to eliminate poverty and empower smallholder farmers and promote sustainable agriculture practices. So in Botswana, we have a problem with land degradation. As my colleagues have mentioned, we also have a challenge with climate change, and it's felt in all aspects of life. Most profoundly seen is that we have extreme lengthy periods of drought and heat waves and erratic rainfall. And as Max has also mentioned, a majority of our population falls within the rural community, and they depend on natural resources for their livelihoods. The map that you see on your left is an assessment that was done by the Ministry of Environment along with the Food Agriculture Organization, and from that they found that over 15% of Botswana's land is degraded. And the main drivers of this is unsustainable cultivation, unsustainable harvesting of non-timber related products, which Mose, I thought it was interesting how you mentioned how part of the degradation that you experience is the deforestation with your shea production, shea tree, sorry, which I was now wondering what alternatives do they also have to manufacturing charcoal other than shea. It's just something that I had at the back of my mind. But this 91,000 hectares of land that is degraded, this looks like around millions of dollars that are lost by the economy that could have benefited our people through agriculture production and ecosystem goods and services that are lost. The red areas, if you see on your bottom right, in the southern area, in Gwening, that's actually a region in our country that has the highest poverty index. So you can imagine with already there's very limited land that you're able to work with to provide a livelihood. It only exacerbates the problem. Our climate change risks, or impacts as well rather, only exacerbate this issue. Botswana's soils is mostly sandy soil. So when you have erratic rainfall or extreme drought periods, it only erodes the soil further and exacerbates the problem. We're also big on our tourism sector. And in the top left, in the Ngami land area, that's where we have the Okavango Delta. One of the global heritage sites is also under threat from further land degradation, and it's a huge national concern. So with that being said, it's also a known thing that only 5% of our land is suitable for arable agriculture. And it's important that, sorry, I'm having a problem seeing. And with only 5% being suitable for land agriculture and the pressing pressures of land degradation, it has really put us in a tough spot with being able to become food sufficient in Botswana. This was further exacerbated by the global COVID-19 pandemic, which led to an inflation in costs. And that led to an increase in input costs for your fertilizers and pesticides and so forth in Botswana. And what we now noticed with our farmers in Botswana, they now ended up adding less nutrients to their soils, which now further exposes them to, diminished crop yields because the soil is inadequately nourished. Also the pending drought and erratic rainfalls that further exacerbates the problem. I should also mention that the government has put in efforts in imposing a partial vegetable import ban so as to stimulate the local food production supply. But when all of these challenges come up and they couple, it makes it an extremely daunting task. But however, at Viva Organica, we are looking to harness the potential of adopting and promoting regenerative agriculture practices in being able to restore the natural fertility of our soils. And this involves moving from a monoculture food production system and focusing on prioritizing soil health. And this would be through organic soil amendments. And the technology that we're looking to harness is, or that we are using rather, is vermicomposting. And remediating organic waste from the environment so as to produce two of our flagship products being our Vermigro and BioBrew, which are granular and liquid fertilizers. We've also identified an opportunity to add biochar or charcoal to further improve the efficacy of our products. So the main driver of land degradation, as I had mentioned in Botswana, is drought. So you find that being able to provide solutions or products that better support the farmer in the crops being drought tolerant is important, and hence why we're looking to include these other products as well. So what we've noticed is majority of the smallholder farmers that we work with are women. Over 60% of them are women, smallholder farmers who operate within 1 to 5 hectares of land. They are concerned with food security, but most importantly, like Max had also mentioned, is in these cases, in every case really, you're looking to first provide for your home, your base first, before you can move on to support or, you know, nurture your environment. So in the same light, this is the market that we're looking to work with, the community we're working with. And smallholder farmers in Botswana are also over 90% of the farmers that are involved in the food production in Botswana. Sorry. So it's a bit unclear. But here I just wanted to give you a picture of what we've been able to accomplish thus far. I should mention that Viva Organica was conceptualized in 2016, but we only started gaining more steam in 2018 after we received a grant fund from the Ministry of Youth, from which we were able to scale our production capacity by 90% and grew our customer base by 80% during the COVID-19 pandemic. And this was during the movement restrictions and so forth. But it was a bittersweet experience for us because another challenge which I will speak more on later is we find that we struggle with really alerting and informing our farmers about the challenges of land degradation and why it's important to move to sustainable agriculture and just being food sufficient. So COVID-19 was an extreme wake-up call for everyone globally, and why it's really important to learn how to at least grow a tomato plant at home in case, you know, you can't depend on your neighbor anymore to provide for your home. A little bit more on what we have done so far. So as I'd mentioned, we grew our customer base by 80%. We've worked with over 200 farmers in 2022. And they were able to see an increase in their yields, reduce costs in terms of using pesticides and other chemical inputs on their farm. Sorry, I'm having trouble seeing. Yeah, and over 1,000 hectares of land was restored through the addition of our organic soil amendments. Can I skip this and quickly go on to speak about our community engagement? So what we're currently working on is an initiative that involves employing low-skilled people from vulnerable groups or communities along our value chain. We have what we call the shred hubs, which is basically operating a low-tech machinery that shreds cardboard. Cardboard is one of our main raw materials that we use in our production process, and we aim to position these hubs along points in the city or towns that are targeting vulnerable communities in the area, so as to provide employment, aside from basically decentralizing our employment other than what we do at the factory site. We also have the Wiggle Box, which is part of the products that we're working on. It's basically a turnkey solution for both the home gardener, the smallholder farmer, and commercial scale to be able to produce their own compost or organic fertilizer on site. Aside from that, we work with women-led organizations that produce the earthworms that we use in our production processes. Another thing that we're looking to really start working on before end of this year is capacitating our farmers in regenerative farming techniques. This is something that we are looking to partner with our collaborators here in Kenya, who are able to provide the expertise, the skills and knowledge. And you know, I guess as well with my colleagues here, Max, it seems that you have a lot of experience with agroforestry work and afforestation practices and agroecology. I'm really looking forward to engaging with you more on that. If I can quickly go back to my business model. As I had mentioned, our main activity is we remediate waste from the environment. We take it through our composting facility using earthworms to produce our fertilizers, but we are now diversifying our portfolio to also include climate-suited seeds, biopesticides, workshops that will capacitate our audience, not only our farmers, but also, you know, our staff that we work with, as well as the community. However, it's worth noting that theoretically it all looks like the puzzles are in place, but we experience challenges at each line here. For instance, with sourcing our raw materials, it's proven to be a bit difficult, and also maintaining the standard of the product. And for that, we're now looking to collect a database that we can digitize and onboard suppliers for raw materials to really keep our production consistent. The worms themselves, our production is quite sensitive to the environment or the weather. And so for that, we found that we are currently actually involved in reconstructing our facility to make it more climate proof, to make it better with the better adaptable to the high temperatures or, you know, flash floods, that kind of thing. And with how we're able to reach our audience as well has been a bit of a challenge. I should mention that the working within the agrochemicals industry in Botswana is a bit challenging. It's heavily regulated, and it's been a huge hindrance in us being able to really scale and work with more farmers, provide more impact, you know, and meet our timelines better. It's been over a year now that we've submitted our applications, our products to be registered as agrochemicals, and that's only a prerequisite. The next step would now be getting our licensing, which will then open us to retailing through farm shops and scaling throughout the country, and eventually export. So that's a major challenge, but we're working on it. We're constantly engaging the Ministry of Agriculture on this. Another thing I should mention is manufacturing is quite capital intensive, and we're constantly looking to source funding to prove the viability and the impact our project is able to provide. With that being said, through our efforts with looking to raise funds for the company, we joined a competition late last year called the Youth Adapt Challenge that was brought up by the Global Center on Adaptation and African Development Bank, and it looks to support African entrepreneurs that are working within the climate adaptation space. Fortunately, we emerged one of the winners across Africa, and it has provided a substantial capital investment where we received the first tranche in June. So we're now, you know, restructuring, doubling our production capacity and increasing our staff and so forth. We're also one of the 5 runner-ups from Botswana under the Green Entrepreneurship Awards brought by SEED. It's also an organization that works with green businesses that are looking to drive positive impact in their communities with regards to climate adaptation. The implementers for both these projects is AfriLabs and University of Botswana. We are also here right now speaking to you through our collaboration with ITC and Yale Community and the Global Land Initiative, which I'm very thankful for. I should also note that we're currently working to sign our MOU with an environmental conservation NGO that will provide us with the opportunity to have our workshops, our training workshops with our showroom to provide the, the effect of our products in action. The Ministry of Agriculture, as I'd also mentioned, is a key partner with regards to regulation and accessing our farmers associations as well. We work with them closely. And some of the products I had mentioned, or the raw materials that we use, we source them from outside. Some of them are, locally based. And we also have a line of research institutions that we work with to really work on research and improving the efficacy, or providing very concrete evidence on the performance of our products. So with that being said, I will mention again that we are a team of 3 at the moment. Myself and my co-founder, Amogelang, who works on the branding and marketing. And we were recently joined by our sales admin assistant. But by 2025, we hope to have a team of 12, where at that time we will be providing services to at least 12,000 farmers annually, and working to restore around 24,000 hectares of land annually. So thank you so much for your time. Welcome the Q&A later on.
Responsibility is where our hope for a sustainable future lies. And it's truly ecopreneurs like yourself that embody this spirit. So thank you so much for your session. Now, with that, we move to our last speaker for this part of the event, Mr. Masroor Shurid, iPage Global Inc., Bangladesh. Over to you, Masroor.
And it's a lovely morning today, and I am loving this environment and loving the campus. So thank you very much, the organizing party and the Kenyan people for inviting us here. So I was just thinking while listening to all of people, I was feeling like alien among all of you, because I'm from the other part of the world. I'm from Asia. I'm from Bangladesh, and that's around 6,500 kilometers away from here. So I took a 12-hour flight to come over here and discuss about issues and challenges, what we are doing out there. And after listening to all of you people, one thing came into my mind. So it's not about who we are or our identity, but one thing that has unified and brought us all here on this platform, which is the climate crisis. And that's why we are here. We are the climate action year, and we are talking about the actions we are taking and against the climate crisis, and that's why we are here, right? So talking about the actions we are taking, back in my country, let me give you a bit context of my country. So I'm from a country which is the 7th most climate vulnerable nation in the world. We are going down to the water every year. And another gravy part is that 1/3 of our soil mass is exposed to high salinity. It's a severe challenge. There are 16 million farmers in our country. The West Africa has 16 million farmers together, right? Yeah, share producers. And we have 16 million farmers in our country. 6.7 million of them are share producer, or the small farmer. And then they don't understand agriculture correctly. Fun, right? But that's the gravy part. They don't understand agriculture correctly. They don't have the capacity to understand the language of the soil, the language of their weather, and they are continuing to do what they're doing traditionally, thinking that that's the best way. That's the dangerous part. I'm from a farming family, and I'm not a farmer, because my family didn't want me to be a farmer. So our farmers, the next generation of our farmers, are moving away because farming is no longer being viable financially for them, and we are losing our land. Our land is being exposed to salinity, it's losing fertility, and there we are. We're also the seventh most climate vulnerable nation. So in that phase, we needed to develop a solution that could help our farmer to make informed decisions, to understand the language of the soil, to design their farming practice accordingly, and eventually make profit out of their profession. That is what my company is doing back in my country. So iPage is basically an agricultural information technology company, and we have developed a digital soil testing device and an automated digitized farm advisory system that tests the farmer's soil right on site within 5 to 7 minutes. Probably I can help you. Probably I can help your farmer as well with our cross-border participation. And that's the way we are helping the farmer to make informed decisions. Now, think of it. It's not possible for any organization, even the government, to reach out to the all 6.7 million small farmers of Bangladesh or the 16 million farmers to reach individually and inform them, hey, you should do it, you should do that, you shouldn't do that. That's why we need a digital channel to do that. Because what you would do physically, you could do hundreds or 1,000 times better through a digital channel. That's why digital solutions are important in supporting small farmers to optimize their farming practice. That's it. Now, talking about my solution, as I said, we are building technology that help the farmer to make informed decisions. So I want to talk about challenges in doing that. So because I was listening to my fellows here and I could connect their challenges with them. It's a similar thing. The same way, the climate crisis is a connecting point for all of us, and the challenge in working against that, in working to solve that, is also connecting us together. So I want to focus on 4 challenges that I believe if anybody of you in the audience may also be benefited if we discuss here. So number 1 challenge, what Mausi was facing, was Meguina is facing as well, is the behavioral blockage of the farmer. Or the target audience that we work for. So when we first brought our soil testing solution for the farmer thought like we are gonna tag their land and then we are gonna steal their land. So we had to move away from one place to another. They didn't believe us. They didn't believe that, oh, why do we need soil testing? We understand the soil better than you. We don't need a machine to do that. And if you put your machine on our soil, you're going to track it, and then probably you're going to take it, or what. So this is what we call the behavioral blockage. And be it a farmer or a fisherman or any marginal community, if you want to introduce technological solution or an optimization solution for that kind of community, this is what we are going to face. That comes with that we can say that this is the challenge of farmers' behavioral blockage. And one way of solving that is to collaborate with local community organizations who already has credible access to the community. And this is how we cracked it. So initially back in 2018 when we started, we thought like we'd be going there with our soil testing device all by ourselves and asking our farmers to take our service. And that's why we were on the run. Now, core of our go-to-market strategy is to partner with local NGOs who know the farmer, who are from the farming community, and they believe in them. So this is one way of looking at the challenge and solving it. And I believe this is the same thing Mouse is doing, same thing you are doing, partnering with women organizations, right? See, challenge is common, solution might be the common. The second challenge I want to talk about is the policy gap. Looking at Meguina, she has been waiting for a year to get one product registered to the government. I'm sure Max is facing the same thing. This morning he was talking about the policy challenge of his government. They don't care about the productivity or the outcome. They are more focused on the nitty-gritty issues. I think Mouse is having the same problem. I have the same problem in my government. It's a different way. Oftentimes we see that our government agencies are trying to do charity that are not sustainable. But what we try to do, helping the farmer understand the soil and eventually being capable of making informed decision in a business model is hampering that kind of approach of the government. That's a conflicting interest. The government agencies are doing it for free, and we bring the same service for a small service fee. It doesn't work in that way, right? It's a policy challenge. Same way, the government doesn't have a policy to work with the private sector companies like ours. They just think like, oh, private sector, we don't believe in them, so let's work by our agents and work with that. Well, guys, that doesn't work in that way, right? This is a challenge. And the solution is here. Platforms like ITC, UNCCD, Quorum, the EA community, this community platform are giving us the voice to raise our concern in a global context from where the governments are getting their fund. So they will have to listen to that. So thanks to the community platform owners who have invited us here, you actually have given us the voice to raise our concern. And maybe not in our lifetime, but beyond that, there would be a policy shift. And we have been talking about this for long, right? So this is the other challenge. So the last one challenge I want to focus on the approach, on the business model. Oftentimes, when we started, we thought like, oh, we can go to the farmer and talk about the outcome of our solution and let them know, hey, if you adopt our soil testing solution, you could reduce your cost of production by 25%, increase your yield by 15%, reduce your vulnerability of infestation by 17%. Oh, well, that didn't work in that way. So we had to work with the local NGOs to get access to the farmer. It's a holistic approach. It's a co-creative approach. It's a collaborative approach. If us, entrepreneur, tries to solve a problem in silos, we would be ending up burning our resources and frustrating our investors. That doesn't work in that way. So it is better always to collaborate, to co-create. And that's why my company recently have launched a program called Seed to Sell program, where smallholder farmers who are subscribed to our service are being trained or educated for 2 seasons, and then we expose them to the ecosystem actors for being invested. Ecosystem actors means the banks. They cannot go to the farmer directly, but we have the data on the farmer farming practice. We're connecting them using the data. Buyers, they don't have the direct access to the farmer, but we have the data of the farmer's production quality. We can connect them with that. Input retailers, they have 3 layers of delivering their inputs. We're cutting the unnecessary layers and we're connecting them with the farmer cooperative. That's how it works. Co-creation and collaboration is key to solve the climate to address the climate crisis, to make climate actions more efficient. And that's what my take. So these are my experiences in working in a developing economy back in Bangladesh. And probably this is where we can come together, share our experience and see where can we make this climate movement more strong and coherent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mashroor, for such a thought-provoking session. And I think the key highlight that I'd like to take back is that it's important for the community as well and to make them part of the process itself. And we're all here to co-create, collaborate and establish partnerships. And I really hope that after the next part of the session and we move to the discussions part of today's session, that all of you identify areas how we can collaborate, co-create and really work together, because I think that's ultimately the future as well. So moving on, we have 2 lead discussants who will be highlighting their experiences with innovative approaches to land-based enterprises, overcoming challenges in land-based entrepreneurship, strategies for scaling up land-based businesses, and the importance of partnerships and collaboration, just what we spoke about. We have with us Monica Yator from Indigenous Women and Girls Initiative, Kenya, who will be taking the floor now. Over to you, Monica.
Good morning. My name is Monica Yator. I'm the founder, Indigenous Women and Girls Initiative, and I'm so happy to be here and also to share what we are doing and supporting farmer groups, especially the pastoralist communities who have been forgotten in this restoration initiative. My organization has introduced agroecological practices among the pastoralist community because we realize that climate change is also affecting us, but nobody is speaking about the pastoralist community and what pastoralist community is adding to the GDP, and also linking that to SDG 1 and 2. You cannot talk about restoration when you don't talk about climate adaptation. And to us, agroecological practices is climate adaptation. And to my fellow facilitators here, I think what we are doing across Africa is same. We are all grappling with the challenges of climate change. First is the biodiversity loss. And all these climate actions is based on land. So if we don't take care of our land sustainably, obviously there will be degradation. And number one degradation is now the deep gullies we are seeing now. In Kenya, majority of deep gullies is happening in arid areas, the semi-arid areas. Where I come from, Baringo, we have a big land loss in acres. We have a farmer who has lost over 10 acres because of the deep gullies. So what we are doing, recently my president launched a 15 billion tree planting initiative. I don't disagree with my president. I love tree planting. But what about the ASAL counties where I come from, the arid and semi-arid areas where pastoralists live? And we depend on pastoralism, and pastoralism is our lifestyle. How do we bring in land use and land biodiversity conservation in my community? And that's where we are advancing agroecology. And we are growing the movement. And I like the fact that we work with farmer groups. And without farmer groups, we cannot realize anything to do with climate action. As we focus now to COP28, what are we doing as communities? What are we doing as stakeholders? What are we doing? Even you, sit idea, what are you doing to protect our land laws, our biodiversity laws? So again, we collaborate, especially with the Global Landscape Forum. We also collaborate with the Agroecology Fund. I must say thank you to Agroecology Fund for seeing what we are doing in the villages there. At the moment, we have planted over 7,000 trees in arid and arid semi-areas. And I'm pleased to see that through our movement and through our actions, people are realizing that agroecology is really working. It is nothing new. If the concept agroecology could be very new to you guys, but what that is traditional farming methods. And we used to do that before. Before now the conventional agriculture came in to kill us. Also we do protect our indigenous seeds. How many of us still have their granaries in the villages? Do we still have them? Why are we losing our granaries? Why are we losing our indigenous seeds? Again, what happened to indigenous trees? Recently we saw export of baobab trees. Where are they going to? Why are they killing our indigenous trees? It takes years for those trees to grow. So where are we taking them? Again, we need to protect our indigenous seeds, indigenous breeds, indigenous trees as well. Just to add again about restoration, in my village we have acacia. The tree takes time to grow, but that is number one sorted tree for charcoal burning. If you see all the charcoal being brought to Nairobi, it comes from my village. Why are they accepting charcoal from acacia trees? First, because it takes time to, you can cook several foods. It takes time to die. Again, and we have a juliflora inversion in my village, the madenge tree. Nobody's talking about that. As we speak now, my county government has, it's called charcoal management. It's called juliflora invasive management tree. So now, who is going to monitor the Philosophy's cutting? Because if we cut Philosophy's and we don't replace with indigenous trees, we are going to go back into the certification again. I understand this tree was introduced to kill the certification in my village, but now it's a menace. Because as we speak now, we have 3 lakes in Baringo alone. We have Lake Bogoria, we have Lake Baringo, and the recently formed Lake 94. It formed in 1994. So the whole ecosystem is water. So where are we going to do that? Because now the madenge plant is causing a lot of flooding in my village. But once again, we are speaking about now inclusion. How we will talk about restoration if we don't include the pastoralist communities? Where is our voices? Because we keep livestock, yes, so we are ignored. But we can still integrate pastoralism and agroforestry. We have started it as an organization, and we still want more support, especially in our areas, so that we walk the talk together and include the voiceless people, my pastoralist communities. Thank you.
Thank you, really fascinating about your work is that it's not just about the environmental impact, but also the socioeconomic contributions as well. So thank you for the wealth of knowledge that you brought to this conversation. Now we have Lawrence Afere, who will be joining us virtually from Springboard, Nigeria. Lawrence, are you able to hear us?
Yes, I can hear you clearly, Akuba. Can you hear me?
Yes, the floor is yours, Lawrence.
All right.
Yes, we're able to see your slide. Yes.
All right, so project. And then this is a picture taken on the farm where our field officers, who are also our extension officers, providing routine visits to our farmers' farm. And then this is a picture of our tree nursery. We have actually grown over 2 million trees so far. And these are fruit trees, then other trees, land, agroforest trees, shade trees, and these are pictures taken from across different tree nurseries where we work in different communities. And then we have this is a picture taken from our farmers training program. And this is actually the Cocoa Farmers Cooperative, because our farmers are categorized into different cooperatives according to their crops. And then this is, I told you that we buy back all our farmers' produce. And one of the produce is cacao beans that we export to Europe. And then this is one of our stores in Nigeria. And then we turn our cacao beans, some of the cacao beans, into chocolate. And the brand is called Tiwa Chocolate. And this is the first chocolate to be produced by cacao farmers themselves in Nigeria. So it's sold in Nigeria, and then we're trying to also ship abroad as well. And it's called Tiwa Chocolate, produced by Springboard cocoa farmers. And we also have women who also develop other tools that are used in cocoa farming and other crops as well. This is a cocoa mat for drying cocoa mat. What farmers usually do is to dry in the floor, and that is not too good, not healthy for the beans. So we developed a raised platform where farmers can dry their beans, and that also improved the quality of the beans. And this is actually sold across Nigeria to cocoa farmers. And then we also have a program called the Rural Women Enterprise Program. It's called Irebami. And this is where we train farmers' wives, because women don't have access to land in communities where we serve, so to work with their husbands on the farm as laborers. But we develop them, we empower them to start small businesses. So we train them in different handicrafts, different vocational skills, and then we provide microcredit for them to start small businesses. Currently, we have about 1,000 women who work in that aspect. And then these women also set up tree nurseries in their communities, and they sell the seedlings to farmers. And we also have women who work in the to produce cocoa boxes for fermentation, so that will also improve the quality of cocoa beans in Nigeria. And then the plantain, that's a big banana. We buy everything back from our farmers and turn into nutritious, healthy plantain chips that is sold across Nigeria and about 5 other African countries. And this has created jobs, and this has helped farmers to benefit much more from the banana and plantain value chain. And just recently, in partnership with the USAID, we moved into the edible insect sector with cricket rearing. Of course, entomology is not new in Nigeria. People eat insects, but rearing of insects is a new thing, it's a new technology. So we developed that in partnership with the USAID. And now we're training farmers to set up cricket boxes on their farms or their backyard. And then we buy back all the crickets and then convert. We have built a factory where we turn that into powder. And then we have also built a factory where we use the powder to make bread. It's the first protein bread in Nigeria, and that has been approved by the national government. And in fact, the bread is selling quickly. We can't meet demand. We're building a bigger factory where we can produce about 5,000 loaves of the bread daily. And it's a very big thing. And farmers are enjoying that because now they have diversified income. And then we've created job opportunities for people who are working in these factories. And we are scaling into training more farmers that will rear more of these edible crickets. And we also have the Farm to School program where we empower future farmers, young people. We're helping to build interest in them to develop that agricultural skills in them, and then especially organic farming and agroforestry, so that they can decide to become farmers. The majority of these young people don't want to be farmers because they've seen their parents poor, their farmers, their parents poor. Then we're helping we created a curriculum that will train these young people right from secondary school. And then we've scaled as well. We've brought in a global board of advisors who are guiding us in this scaling and this process of our activity. And so currently, of course, we've had partners who have supported us in the past and currently United States of America through the embassy. And then you see a whole lot of them here on the screen. So thank you. That's what we do. Our head office is in Akure, Southwest Nigeria. And thank you.
Thank you, Lawrence, for joining us virtually and for giving us a holistic idea of a business model and for highlighting the importance of capacity building. Thank you once again. And I hope you stay with us for the next part of the session because we'd love to open the floor and for our audience to interact with the 4 ecopreneurs, but also our lead discussants. And having said that, I would also really like our ecopreneurs to take this opportunity to bounce off any questions that you may have between one another and also with our lead discussants. But the floor is open now.
Hello. So I want to answer Makwene's question about other alternatives for the shade trees. Yes, we are partnering with the Ghana Forestry Commission to give other trees like rosewood, teak, acacia for the farmers to plant so that they don't end up using the same shade tree. So they are also, aside from giving us the seedlings, these 3 varieties, they also provide technical support to the farmers on how to take care of these varieties and also fall on other non-economical tree for charcoal production, right? I have a question for you. It's about your fertilizer. Is it like a big bag of 25 kg or is very small? And if it's small, how many of that do a farmer need to get to take care of like a 1 acre field?
We actually have them in 5 kg and 50 kg bags. And that's a great question, actually. My apologies if the picture was a bit misleading. The 5 kg, we also work with home gardeners, but our primary market and the one that we feel will provide or bolster more impact is the smallholder farmers. So we have the 50 kg for them. And for, say, a 2 hectare coverage, sorry, I speak in hectares, not acreages, but for 2 hectares, around 2 to 4 tons, depending on the kind of crop you're growing in the area. Yeah.
Are farmers able to afford this, knowing that what's the average size of a farmland in your country to start with?
Around 1 to 2 hectares. 1 to 2 hectares. That's actually a good question, and that's where the precision agriculture comes in, and that's where you come in, Misha. And that's where now you look into solving your key soil requirements. And I will admit that is something that we really need to prioritize and work on, because we don't want, and the rates I was giving you now is more of like a broadcasting, yeah. But what we also encourage farmers to do is to plant along each seed hole or where they're transplanting to localize the fertilizer application so that the roots reach it quicker.
I asked because I'm wondering if a farmer is not able to afford,
Yeah.
they will be maybe forced to just buy little and then lose the opportunity on the other land. They could maybe use your technology to increase their yield. In case they don't have the money, they can't afford the 50 tons you mentioned. Is it 5 tons?
It's 2 to 4 tons.
Wow. Okay.
And that's where the liquid fertilizer comes in as well.
Okay.
And that's where we see most farmers are leaning towards more of the liquid fertilizers, because it's something that you can use also along the growing cycle of the crop. It's not necessarily something that you only apply when you're establishing the crop. So you can apply it also as you go when it's required, and it's more affordable for them.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else has any questions? Okay, we have one at the front.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Sorry, my name is Julia Nyambura, working from Roots Kenya organization. These are grassroots organizations working together in sisterhood. My question goes to Mashur. You are really doing a commendable job in Bangladesh. Maybe my concern is about when you're doing the soil testing, maybe what practices or what measures do you take to ensure farmers are practicing the sustainable management practices on land, maybe on to increase the biodiversity or improve the soil health, or maybe to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions? Thank you.
Thank you. That's a quite intriguing question. Yeah. So making farmers continuing to do soil test and adapt their fertilization application is definitely a challenging thing. So to do that, this is what we do. We provide soil testing and digital agricultural advisory almost for free. There is a small subscription fee per season, $2 per season for 5 months. That's quite reasonable. So the connection is something like this. If they do not test their soil and get the prescription, they cannot access to low cost, high quality inputs from our partners. If they do not do the soil testing and have the prescription recorded on the card, we issue a card, digital card, they cannot access the input, they cannot access the machine services from our partners. Also, our partner banks will not be giving them the low cost capital. So you connect that with a set of precedental approach. Hey, you do this thing, well, it's almost for free, $2 per season of 5 months. Well, it's free for you. But if you don't do that, then you don't get to have low cost capital. You don't get to have priority access to input. You don't get to have priority access to mission service. And now you decide what to do. That's how you can do it. This is one way of doing it strategically. And of course, helping farmer to optimize their farming practice. That includes the soil testing and understanding of the soil health. We need to organize farmer education. So what we do usually, we clusterize the farmer. We organize the farmer education program every season, periodically. And those training programs are free and comes with the service that we offer. So by training the farmer, educating the farmer, you can leave your residual impact on the farmer, even though you don't belong to that community anymore. Like Mausi was talking about, what if her organization doesn't exist anymore? Would that practice be remaining in the farmer? She was talking about the same. That's what any ecopreneur, any entrepreneur should be thinking. We need to create a farmer education program that will increase the resiliency and the capacity of the farmer, so that even if, God forbid, and even if we don't exist for any purpose, the farmer can continue to have that education and pass it to their next generation. So that's my answer to you.
Thank you so much for all your interesting insights. My name is Stephanie Kanyinge. I work for Roots Kenya. It's a movement of grassroots women, and these are grassroots women. My question to you all actually is, have you been able to incorporate the grassroots voice in the solutions that you're coming up with at the inception stage? Like when you're thinking about an idea, have you thought about incorporating the grassroots women or the farmers into your idea to like give in a little bit of buy-in? Because I think that may help you guys with the buy-in with the community when they feel like it's theirs. the solution has come from them, because one of the things we have identified as GROOTS is the farmers have the solutions that they need to their problems. So, and we've seen a lot of uptake when we incorporate them from inception, from the moment we have an idea or we have an opportunity to come up with a project for something. We'll have a meeting with them and we'll ask them, so what do you think? This is what we want to do, and how can we do it? Where can we do it? So that's my first question. My second question is specifically to you, Mashur. I know yours is a digital solution, and I'm wondering about the uptake, especially in the rural communities. Has it been an issue for you with the rural communities to be able to use your technology to test their soil? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. To be sincere, I work in the rural areas and I support women groups. And thank you, because groups have a coordinator in Baringo, and I've met Monica Luca before. And apparently, we do grassroots, and our farm demonstration and training is from farmer. We identify farmer leads, they discuss among themselves, they give us they suggest among themselves which farm to do it. So we take our agroecology and farm demonstration in their farms. So it's an added advantage. Also for soil testing, you don't need to buy a machine. You don't need to pay for soil testing is expensive in Kenya, you know that. So we train farmers how to do their own soil testing organically. That means you scoop the topsoil, you mix with water, and then you rub it. So the longer it goes, the ribbon it goes, that means the soil is healthy. And if the soil is breaking, it's not healthy. And that's why we educate them to do carbon beds, where we bury dry matter, green matter, and also in the Zai pits, we build the soil health. So again, that is another indigenous way of building the soil. Yeah.
Hi, Stephanie. Thank you for your question. So just to add to the first answer, there are two parts, like the soil organic health and the soil chemical health, right? So soil organic health can be identified through this kind of procedures, while identifying the soil chemical health requires integration of optimized approach. So that's why the precision technologies comes in. Now, to answer your question, the uptake rate of the precision technologies, well, as I have said, that's a quite challenging part, right? So initially we thought of selling the soil testing device to the farmer. It was a wrong concept. So we went there saying, hey, you see this machine, that this can actually test your soil and let you know that you need to, how much fertilizer you should be applying for which crop. Now they said, oh, we don't need it. We understand better than this machine, so they went away. But the uptake went high when we started to partner with local community organizations, because they trust, the farmers trust the community organizations more than us. Because we are a bunch of city dwellers going to them and saying that this is what you should be doing. They don't, like I have left my farmer community long before they have even known my face. So they usually have it hard time to realize or believe in what we are saying. So to bring a credible access to their community and increase the uptake of what we are trying to implement, it is always recommendable to partner with the local community organization. This is one part. Another part is that this is what we do usually in the extension practice. So in the agricultural extension, we call this term demonstrative practice. So you find a group of ideal farmer, that's what we did, and we supported the farmer with everything. They just have to invest their land and their labor. We help them to get the seed, fertilizer, pesticide based on our recommendation. So when they have produced their crop, and eventually we had an agreement, like if you can grow this amount of crop from 1 acre of land, the crop is yours. The idea is to demonstrate the impact. And if somehow they do not reach that crop outcome, the productivity or the yield, we compensated the gap. Simple. With that investment, Stefan, I say that, with that investment, that will create community credential. So people, that is the moment they will become your ambassador. Oh, yeah, we have done this thing, and well, this is what we have done. Well, previously we have been investing $70 per acre. Now we are investing $50 per acre. Well, you know, that's a huge thing. With the $20, we could send our kids to the school. That makes sense. So that is how you could increase the uptake of the technological intervention. And one thing we need to understand, just do not design technology because maybe we are tech savvy or maybe we love doing it or maybe it's sexy. We need to do it because it's the requirement. As I said, with the access of digital channel, you could reach thousands at one time, but with a manual or analog process, you could reach a limited level of people. That's why you need technology, right? You need to identify why we need it. If we can do it, uptaking will be done. It will happen.
Hello, everyone. I am Akinlo Juma from Nigeria, and Mao, you talked about policy, which I believe is something very important. So my question is this: how I feel most businesses in Africa, we view our customers as just customers, and I think it is important that, especially in this space, we also view them as voter blocks. I believe there should be a connection between businesses and policy making. We should be able to influence that. And a lot of the businesses you operate or involve people in the local communities. So how are you galvanizing people in the local communities to demand certain policy changes that would influence business as a whole and in general? Because for there to be more than just you as a single player in your industry, you need a policy framework to support your business case and business model that can also bring in other people into that space as well and also buoy your investor confidence.
Thank you for your question. I think there's two ways to answer to this question. For instance, in Madagascar, as we inherited from a lot of previous colonial laws, there are two parallel laws that govern the country. There is the administrative law that is written, that is there where you can go to trials, and then there is the cultural laws, you know, and both of them are still working today. In the rural communities, most of the people, they rely more on the traditional and cultural laws, you know. But in the towns, in the urban areas, they rely more on the administrative laws. If you want the grassroots communities to have a power, you know, to claim policy changes, the first step is also to ask them to make a step forward the traditional laws, the administrative laws. For instance, the land tenure issues. For us, the land issues is at the center of our problem because the farmers with whom we work, their great-grandfathers worked on this land, their grandfathers also, their fathers worked, their parents worked on this land, but they don't have papers to prove it, you know. So at the eyes of the administration, they don't own this land. But of course, you know, they do. You cannot take them out of this land. So we help them to formalize the title of their land, you know, and it's the first security. There are even some farmers with whom we work who don't have an ID, you know, a national ID. So we can help them to make a step forward the actual laws, but then, for instance, they also have, they can claim some policies from the government. For instance, the carbon credit. Carbon credits is a big opportunity for Malagasy farmers to have sustainable financing mechanism. They can finance agroforestry and agroecology project for over 20 years, but today the Malagasy laws do not allow farmers to benefit from this mechanism. And now they have gathered as many farmers organization and ask for the government to open Madagascar to this international market that will allow them to expand their activities, to receive financing. For instance, the JEF financing was not allowed in Madagascar since this year, and now more and more the farmers really claim this role of policy making to the government.
Yeah, I would add something to that. So, to make a policy shift for your initiative, there is a strategic approach for that, okay? If you start talking about policy shifting from day one of the inception of your initiative, buddy, you're going to be in trouble, because this policy framework, it is so instilled within the process. It's hard to raise question against it. So here is the 2 cents for that. While we talk about creating change, we don't have to change the entire world. We don't have to create change for the entire human race. Let's pick one simple village. Start working with hundreds, maybe thousands. You create change for them, tangible change, presentable change, or quantifiable change. Make a quantifiable change, document it, and then spread that news of quantifiable change we have created for the small community. And then that small change will bring you to the platform like this. Oh, these people, he's working for the 1,000 farmer in there, and he's doing great. So come here, talk about your challenge. And then you start talking about, oh, wait, in doing that, this is a challenge we have. You talk about the challenge. And then people in power who actually develop the policy is looking at this kind of program. Oh, okay, this is the challenge he's saying. Okay, we don't want to hear that kind of challenge to be present in the global arena. Let's sort it. This has happened to our side. We had problem in registering a patent of our innovation, and we applied, and it was taking over 16 months to get a response from the government body. Then we won the Ecopreneurship Award this year, where WIPO was a partner, and WIPO is a solid partner to any government's patent organization or patent agency. And then WIPO just, one of the higher official of WIPO just write 2 lines to the government agency. Hey, we have this entrepreneur own award, like they need this support. Could you please look into that? And that particular thing got approved within just 2 months of that email went through. You see? So if we started to start raising policy of not helping us to register our innovation and government should come forward, that would have went to vain. But just do it in a bit way around. You will be heard, I believe.
Thank you. My name is Sharon Auma from Uganda. I want to appreciate your response in relation to the policies. That was my first question, but he read my mind. Then my second question goes to Monica. As you know, in Uganda, we also have a very big pastoralist community, that is the Karamojong. And we have been having issues in relating agroforestry and pastorism, because to them, issue of land degradation and land restoration has spiritual and cultural ties. They believe that the reason why the land is degraded, it's because the gods believe so, and culturally they're supposed to move from one place to the other, looking for water and pasture for their animals. So many initiatives have been done to ensure that the concept of agroforestry also comes into that community, but we have been having serious challenges. So what have you done that is so different that your community has understood the concept of agroforestry and they have adopted it? Maybe it could also help us in Uganda.
Thank you so much, my sister. And let us be proud of who we are. Pastoralism is a lifestyle, I know. And growing up as a pastoralist girl, I just knew our lifestyle is just wake up in the morning, milk the cows, milk the goats, go herd them and come back. It's also affecting our lifestyle as women, especially now that most of the natural resources are men-led. And also in the decision making, it is male-dominated. So what we are doing, we have introduced what we call landscape restoration in the indigenous areas. And with this project of GLFX, and we are talking with community. Currently, as we speak, we have stakeholder forums where we bring now the elders, not forgetting the women, because in most of this session, they forget women because of course the cultural perspective. In our restoration, we have introduced what we call seed balls. Seed balls are made from the acacia, because where I come from, we only want to bring back the acacia trees, which we are losing now. So during dry season, we spread the seeds. So when the rains are coming, they start now sprouting. Another thing we do what we call landscape management through paddocking, where we encourage communities to do pasture managed grazing, where you graze at this part, and then after 6 months you allow the land to regenerate and also the trees to grow. Then they graze in other parts. And also we form what we call pasture grazing policies, where we now bring in the youth, because majority of youth are the ones taking care of the livestock, where now they have to create policies, their own bylaws, such that after this period of time they graze in this side. And also that the communal land use is something that we need to bring and also educate our people that if we don't take care of our landscapes, we will destroy, because one adder has over 3,000 goats. And imagine if they move all together, it walks away with the topsoil. So again, how do we bring in the pasture management to our livelihood? And then what we are introducing now is small-scale agriculture, where we work with farmer groups, especially women. We have established seed banks, indigenous seed banks for women, and those who have now transitioned to small-scale agriculture. We also encourage them to facilitate them to do establishment of agroforest centers. So we have like 10 women-led agroforest centers. So in my village, when you buy a tree, it's very expensive. So they prefer buying fruit trees. So if you give them a tree and a fruit tree, they will buy their fruit tree now, because they see the value of the fruit. So again, we encourage them. We need to make agroforestry value addition so that people make money out of planting trees. And also we do intergenerational knowledge transfer, where we work with schools. We establish permaculture and agroforestry centers in schools for the kids to understand that we need to grow food, and then linking that to climate change and climate mitigation. So again, working with the small generation so that our pastoralist kids grow up understanding the value of food production and also agroforestry. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions from the audience?
So I have a question to my fellows here. I have been noticing that all of us are on the same page while we talk about the intervention by partnering with the local community. So how you are doing it? Like, what is the incentive for the local partner you are offering? I know my part, what I am offering for the incentive for helping us to get our solution to the farmer. So what we do here in Bangladesh, that we have a revenue sharing model, simple, right? What do you do in your countries?
So your question is what we do to incentivize the farmers?
No, incentivize the community organizations to work to get the farmer.
Okay, so our model, we work directly with farmers, right? So we set up the farmer groups in the communities. So we have field officers who have degrees. We employ them. They go and pitch our bundle of services, market access, agroforestry, financing and everything to them. And then they form a group, or they register them with our app, our software. They profile them, they buy from them. They also collect information on trees they've helped the farmers to manage. So there is no group per se existing that we work with in the community. But then I think what we do to get the leaders, because we need the leaders. You can't go to a community without the leaders. They'll kick you out. So we first meet leaders, and when you go to a leader, you first need to give them like kola nut money. Something like before you enter their house, you need to give them something. And sometimes when you need them to sign contracts, or agreements, like land use agreement, they want something again. But we push harder and tell them we are creating value for you. The first money we gave you was to enter your place as a tradition. But we are not going to give you money anymore because we are creating value for your community. That has been a very hard discussion to have, because they keep tossing our field officer, okay, go and come later, I'll sign the document, I'll review with my leaders and all that, because they're not getting this. But we also want a sustainable thing, right? Because for how long are we going to be oiling, or should I say smoothing their palms with this money? So we have to be tough on that. So that's the main thing. But the women's side, the reason we are getting them to do this conservation is the benefit they've seen with the premium or the extra income they get with the share nuts. So far, we've been able to help 10,000 women share producers to get 21% extra income above the local prices. So if they were not selling this through us to our buyers, they were going to lose this 21%. So that's a very good incentive. And they also like the fact that the trees that we are helping them to manage or plant, they can earn carbon credit in the next 3 years. So that excites them. And that has been the challenge we have with the leaders, because the men are not on this plan with us. It's only women we are going with, and they're not too happy. But we made them to understand that, look, if a woman has money, she will bring it back to the home. She'll cook food, and the man will have little burdens on him. So when we say some of this, it's excite them and say, okay, then I'll let my wife go and do this work with you then.
Yeah, that's a good question, Mashwa. I think incentives are to consider them as an individual level or as community level. For the individuals, it's result-based incentives with the survival rate of the trees, not money. But for instance, in Madagascar, food, and it's a part of rice per trees that are alive, and it goes up for every % of survival rate that the farmers have. Then at the community level, it's also, as you said, for the carbon credits, there is the revenue sharing plan. But we thought that instead of giving each farmers a small part of the revenue, why not build a village basket fund where the money would be streamed to build infrastructures, local infrastructures. For instance, instead of waiting for 8 years for the carbon project to be profitable, our partners invest in processing facilities, warehouses for the harvest, or local infrastructures such as school or sanitary house or irrigation system. And by that way, also the community leaders are winning, because for them, the population, the community will remember that it was during their terms that the livelihood improved, you know. So that's how we also incentivize the local leaders.
Yeah, so the reason I was just asking about this, because incentivization in the form of money. But what I can summarize from here is that money is not the only currency in doing that. So this result-based incentives you talked about, amazing idea. So this community infrastructure for common benefit, amazing idea. Or this popularity in the community, because they helped us in doing something for their community people. These are also the transactional currency, right? Great, great.
Natural source improvement. Where do you see is really the power? Or, you know, is it like farmer or landscaping communities? Where do you see really an interesting entry point for scaling your work? Thank you.
I have a really precise idea about this question, because we started our model by working with individual farmers. So we went into every farmer's houses to do the social analysis. We analyzed each farmer's soil, and it was really resources consuming. It wasn't building or strengthening the community sense. And since the last 2 years, we started working with a farmers organization. And honestly, it's totally different. The project are way more efficient. We've witnessed a much higher satisfaction rate, survival rate, community empowerment. So for me, it's really clear the most efficient. And if you want to scale it, you have to work with farmers organization, because also the farmers organization are credible, you know, in the eyes of the farmers. They trust them. They know the organization, they're gathered. And we've witnessed also that farmers organization are not only useful for agroecological tasks or, you know, awareness raising or sensitization or skill building. They are also social changes drivers. We've witnessed, for instance, farmers organization who strengthened the power of youth women, and we didn't see that in any other organization with whom we were working. So we really want to empower the farmers organization now.
I also want to add, it's an interesting question, farmer scientist, yeah. So, so there's a data available on the World Bank side which says that agriculture is the biggest contributor of greenhouse, right? If we look the scenario from that data spectacle, well, I would have said, oh, it's the farmer we need to empower first. But perhaps if we go a bit higher and look at the situation from a bird's eye view, I think it's the land restoration community that should come in power and practice, because if they can deploy strategies that will empower ecopreneurs like us to get to the farmer, well, that box ticked. If they can develop programs or policy dialogues that attracts the attention of the policymakers, that ticks that box. And if they can get knowledge base or people who has particular knowledge from people like you, then that also get ticked, because now the knowledge is here, collaboration is here, and engagement of ecopreneurs or young entrepreneurs who have the lifetime to go there is here. So that might be a holistic approach to solve that one.
Yeah, just to add on to what my colleague said, I think also it just really highlights that as people really connect at a human level. And I don't know if it was you who said it earlier on, you don't go anywhere if you operate in silos. Same for us as the businessman or the farmer. So it's always more beneficial to know that you're not alone in your problems. You're being heard and you're finding solutions together. And Misha explained it perfectly. It works with different communities, different ecosystems that then work together to solve a common problem. Yeah.
Thank you. With that, we come to an end of the session. And thank you so much for such an engaging session. And I'm sure you'd want to interact with our lovely panelists today. So after the session, please take the time to talk to them, ask them questions, and engage with them. I want to really express my gratitude to our remarkable youth ecopreneurs and lead discussants for sharing their knowledge, experiences, and aspirations with us today. They serve as a beacon of hope in our ongoing journey towards a more sustainable future. The stories we've heard, the challenges discussed, and the innovative solutions presented all remind us of the critical role that youth-led narratives play in shaping a greener and more sustainable world. The recordings of this session will be available on our YouTube channel, the G20 Global Land Initiative YouTube channel. And I really hope that all of you will share your insights, your thoughts, and experiences by tagging us on our social media, because we'd really like to hear your voice and your interests as well. We do have a lot of fun-packed events planned for the next 2 days. So today, this afternoon, we have a youth consultation, and tomorrow in the morning, we have a session where we're introducing the Land Challenge, and in the afternoon, we have a gender-focused session with Landisa. I really hope that all of you come back to our pavilion, and for tomorrow, both the sessions will actually be live streamed on our YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was lovely meeting all of you. And I really hope that we keep the momentum going and we all collaborate and co-create together. Thank you and have a lovely afternoon.